You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Jay, start us off with a bold prediction for week 2.
All right, so on the offensive side of the ball, I expect for us to once again rush for over 200 yards in this one. I expect for us to pass for over 200 yards, but I expect us to be under 450 yards total.
Okay.
Very light.
I think we're going to see another 4-touchdown day from Jackson Arnold, and I think you're going to see another pair of those go to Deion Burks.
I like that. Defensively, for the second consecutive week, we're going to hold a team under 200 yards.
Okay.
And we're going to get at least 4 sacks and 4 turnovers.
I like it. I feel like that's the like the 40-40 club in baseball. You get 40 stolen bases, 40 home runs. You get 4 sacks, 4 turnovers. Pretty good chance you're going to win the football game.
Very much.
Defensively, I'm going to say Mason Thomas comes through with 2 of those. This is going to be the breakout game for him. I've been talking about him for 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm ready. This is the time. This is Mason Thomas time.
I feel bad for the edge room. We just been wanting them to do something, right? To be able to go, and it's not. And let me rephrase. No, I'm not going to rephrase it. We want them to do something. Now we know they're being effective. We just want them to get the actual tick marks on there, right? We know they're knocking down passes and they're forcing the quarterback to get rid of the ball quickly, but we don't have any statistics to really show outside of the efficiency stuff. No, we want you to get the sack. We want you to get credit for your homework and your contribution to this group project.
That's right. I do think Gavin Sawchuk has a much better day. I think, go back, look at the film. He'll see that he was a little bit hesitant and tentative, but also getting Branson Hickman back, getting Jake Taylor involved. We might see a little bit more Heath Ozida this week at left guard, potentially.
That'd be nice.
If that's the case, then maybe there's a little bit more consistency up front. We don't know the health status of Gary Hatchett, but there's some speculation that he's not fully healthy from his injury last season either. So I think Gavin Sawchuk has a much, much better day. Will it stave off Taylor Tatum talk? Probably not, because I think Taylor Tatum goes and has another productive performance as well.
Yeah. I have a feeling that we'll see more Taylor Tatum and Kalib Hicks in this game. It feels like that what makes the most sense to get a couple runs for Gavin as well as Barnes, but don't play them too much. Really start to grind them up and get them going for the Tulane game and then going into SEC play. It feels like it makes more sense to do that instead of, letting them take extra hits early in the season when you really don't need them, right? I think Kalib Hicks and Taylor Tatum can go out there and really be extremely effective against Houston, even though Houston defensively, they're not too bad. I mean, efficiency-wise, they were ranked 81st going up against a UNLV offense that's infamous for being like, they're quote-unquote gimmicky and it's hard to defend. They did a solid job of keeping them to only 27 points, especially as bad as we believe they are. So having those 2 backs will be good. Wide receiver-wise, I want to see J.J. Hester get 5 catches, 100 yards. Give me that.
I want to see Angelo Anthony get an increased snap count. He only played 9 snaps last week. Caught a pass, but if they can extend him to like 15 this week or closer to 20, I think that'll show a good trajectory for where he's headed this season. Contrary to other people's opinions out there, Dean Blevins, he's going to contribute this year. It just might not be week 1, week 2, or even week 3, but you're going to get something out of Angelo Anthony at some point this year that's going to be super, super productive for this team. The Oklahoma Sooners are a 27.5 point favorite right now over at FanDuel. That's a very intriguing line because I think this has the potential to be a blowout. I think it also has a potential to be a game within 20 points. Where do you kind of fall on this one, Jay?
I'm kind of surprised that line has dropped like that, right? Because it opened at 26.5. I've seen it at 30 at points. And I believe that now a lot of people, because of course Vegas raises it because they're trying to get traffic on the opposite side. And it sounds like a lot of people were starting to really hit that Houston 30 and Houston 29. And now they're bringing it back to about where they were. So they've got the money to balance the numbers out. I don't think this game's going to be close by any means, but I do think there'll be a lot less possessions than we expect. I really believe that we're going to control the clock and control most of the game. So to me, I'm sensing that we win. We probably score 40, so we'll cover the spread, but we don't hit the over-under, which is what, 49 now?
It is 49.5.
So that's back 49.5 because I've seen it go up to 52 at one point on FanDuel. So now it's dropped to 49.5. I'm sensing that we probably get close to that. We may actually hit the over-under on our own, but I think that boldest prediction, 49-0 Oklahoma.
Okay. So that means Oklahoma covers, but doesn't cover the point total.
Nope.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like around 45-13 right now.
Ooh,
I don't know why I feel like Houston scores some points, but I don't know. I just, it's Willie Fritz, man. Like Willie Fritz is a really, really good head coach. And maybe it's year one of a massive rebuild that he's undertaking at Houston. But I just have way too much respect for that dude and what he did 3 years ago when Oklahoma had Tulane like dead in the water after one half of play. And they just rallied and made that a game at the end of the game. He may not have the same level of talent at Houston right now that he had at Tulane, but he's got some talent. And some of those players followed him over from Tulane to Houston. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm landing right now is 45-13. I think it's going to be close. I think Oklahoma needs another defensive or special team score to cover the spread. And that's one of those that's kind of a coin flip situation that you may or may not get in a game. But I think the offense looks really good. But I agree with you that they're going to play a lot more ball control offense because I think that's going to be a lot of the philosophy of this team is control the football and play defensive football, which is smart because that's the strength of your team, right? So that's kind of where I'm landing on this one. If you're really feeling frisky, Houston is a minus 10,000 on the money line. So, it's the old Kevin Malone from The Office bit. If somebody gives you 10,000 to 1 odds, you take them, right? Like you put a little $10 on that just to see what might happen. Houston's not going to win this game, but those are kind of frisky odds. I don't know. The better in me is intrigued. But don't do that. If you're going to do it, don't put a lot of money on it. That's for sure. Just, little fun money. Some intriguing games in the SEC this week. The one that has my eye and the one I'll be most intrigued about in the early slate. And I know Texas is going up to Ann Arbor to play Michigan. That's really exciting. But Arkansas, Oklahoma State, I think I'm more fascinated to see how that game turns out than anything because it's one of those matchups that should happen regularly, just like Oklahoma, Arkansas. There's no reason why it shouldn't happen more frequently than it does. There's so many potential bragging rights that are at play. Like living in Eastern Oklahoma, there are a ton of Stillwater or Oklahoma State fans out here. Mm-hmm. We're not far from Fayetteville. There's a lot kind of at stake between these two teams right now, especially on the recruiting trail as they kind of recruit the area and, try to get one up on the other.
It looks like Bobby Petrino has really got them humming on offense with Taylor Green out there at quarterback. He looked pretty good, even though they played, Arkansas, Pine Bluff. I totally understand that. But coming from Boise State, man, it looks like he looked comfortable in the game, right? You win 70-0. Obviously, you're very comfortable. But he's a big kid, 6'6", 230, right?
He can scoot.
He can scoot. He looked comfortable in the game. And so to me, if he goes out there, he goes to the waters and he feels poised and Bobby Petrino is able to draw something up with that offense that he has, that pro style, I think it could be a problem because I think Oklahoma State's defense is a little suspect. I don't think it's that good. And I think that that's going to be what really causes problems for them is that I don't think they're going to be able to stop Green or Bobby Petrino in that offense right now. Now, Ollie Gordon is, of course, everything for them. But at the same time, if you can find a way to
Brennan Presley,
just put a whole bunch of big boys in the box and make it hard for him to get around them, should be okay.
Try to force Alan Bowman to beat you. That's generally a fairly good recipe for success. Texas and Michigan. I know we're going a little bit long on today's episode, but we got to get to some of these games. Texas and Michigan. That's going to be a fantastic matchup. I think Texas is going to win it. I think they'll even cover the spread. I just don't think that this Michigan team is as good as they were last year with the young quarterback that's kind of finding his way. I don't think Texas is as good as they were last year. I've said that everywhere I could say it. But the schedule sets up for them to be as good record-wise or potentially better. Well, I don't think they'll be better because they'll lose to Georgia and they'll lose to Oklahoma. So they won't be better record-wise. But, yeah, that's kind of where I stand on Texas. They'll beat Michigan, but I don't think either team is as good as what they were a year ago.
Yeah, getting those back-to-back losses is going to be awesome to see. But, no, yeah, I agree. Defensively, I think Michigan is still there. I think that they're going to be a problem defensively for Texas, but I think Texas wins this game. I don't think they cover the spread, though. I think this game's going to be a lot closer because, specifically, Sharon Moore's offense, the way he's going to play it, he's going to be controlling the clock majority of the game. It's all about game control with the way the Michigan's philosophy's been since, Moore's been the offensive coordinator, right? They want to control the clock and control the game. My issue with Michigan is that they have no clue who's going to play quarterback, right? They keep going in between the walk-on, was it Davis Warren and then Alex Orji. They have absolutely no clue who's going to actually be the quarterback. I mean, they still got Jaden Davis, the freshman, I think he's a 4-star quarterback, 5-star on some systems. And they're not even playing him. Like, he's like 3rd on the depth chart. I figured they would have went ahead and threw him in there since they don't know about the other two. But that passing game, which has kind of been non-existent at Michigan anyway, I don't know. We got to see if Donovan Edwards can carry them all the way through this. And it just doesn't feel like they'll be able to do that against Texas this time around. I think Texas wins the game, but I don't think they cover. I think it's a lot closer than people anticipate because I think Michigan's defense is really good.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Michigan's defense is what keeps them in the game. I just don't think they have enough offensively to keep pace, and that'll put enough pressure on their quarterback situation where Texas might end up with a defensive score or short fields and are able to take advantage of that Michigan team. The only other couple games of intrigue here, you got South Carolina, Kentucky, which I think could be a really fun one to watch, especially if you want to watch from Dylan Stewart, 5-star freshman. That is just blowing things up. Tennessee, NC State. That's kind of the other big non-conference matchup. That'll give us a really, really good idea of what Tennessee's all about this year.
Yeah, because NC State's defense is still, somewhat, solid, and that they have a lot of veterans out there. Now, they didn't play very well the first half in the last game, but second half they turned it up and they went and showed out and actually did a lot better. So if Tennessee can exploit them early, they'll be good. But I wonder if the question is, how ready will NC State be for that high-profile, hypo offense that's going to be go, go, go in the first half? If NC State can show that they're ready in the first half, then that game's going to be a very stressful one for the Vols.
Yep. Auburn will host Cal. They should win that one handily. Yeah. And then Alabama hosts South Florida. Another, maybe an upset pick here if you're getting freaky. Missouri and Buffalo. Buffalo is a oiled program. Could they knock off the Tigers? No, they won't.
No, I don't think that's it.
That's it. You don't really have much else going on. So you know where to focus your attention this week if you're looking at SEC action. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports, myself at John 9 Williams. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all the socials. We'll be back to cover the game. I'll do it immediately after the game. We'll get something up there so you guys can react to it and share your reactions and your thoughts to how Oklahoma performs as well. So be aware of that. That'll drop on your feeds, at least on Sunday morning at the latest.
Yep.
So be aware of that. But we'll be back for our full week of shows on Monday as well. But until next time, hope you enjoy your weekend, and Boomer
Sooner.